Hi guys, welcome back to another one of my little ranking videos. So today, instead of doing a top 13 of whatever, I'm doing a ranking of one of my favorite franchises in horror. That's the Friday the 13th franchise. So I'll be ranking all of the films in the entire series, and I'm excluding fan films, of course. So just the official releases for this franchise. And a full caveat that I find some enjoyment in every one of these films. Like I said, it's one of my favorite franchises, and so even my last one, I do have find some enjoyment in. Even though I gave it probably I gave the bottom ones shitty ratings, I still think that they're enjoyable for what they are. So let's start it off with my ranking. So at the bottom of my list is the entry in the franchise that's the most disappointing to me, and really it's the most boring film in the franchise. And a Friday the 13th film should not be boring. I put it on just to watch some dumb fun, even if the story's crappy. I want to be entertained by it. This one does not achieve this, although I still like it for its. There's some pretty cool kills in it. So that is the eighth film in the franchise. That is Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. And in this one, Jason attacks some kids on a boat, some kids that were taking a ferry or a boat up to Manhattan just as a school trip. And he hitches a ride, kills off some people, eventually ends up in Manhattan himself. And it's pretty. Those scenes in Manhattan are pretty cool, where he's walking through New York City, and like I said, it has a lot of cool kills. The beheading punch scene was really sweet, and the I like the guitar kill at the start of it. And yeah, just the look of Jason in this one. It's one of my favorite looking Jasons with the mask on. That slimy, greasy looking Jason. I really like that look for him. So that's my bottom pick. Uh, Friday the 13th, Part 8. All right, moving on to my number 11 pick. 11 is the 10th film in the franchise. That is Jason X. So in this film, Jason goes to space. Yes, it's set in the future. He was frozen, and his body is brought onto the spacecraft where he thaws out and then begins to kill the inhabitants, the residents on this spacecraft. Yeah, so I'm not the biggest fan of this one. It is a little bit more entertaining than my previous entry here, but I'm not a big fan of the sci-fi and space theme to it. Although this one also has a lot of really cool kills in it. One of the best ones where he freezes that woman's face and then smashes it on a counter. That's pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of really interesting dialogue and the CGI's, but still fun for what it is. It's if you don't take it too seriously, as you shouldn't with the this franchise entirely anyway. You should still have some fun with this one. But still near the bottom of my list here, Jason X. All right, moving into the top 10. My number 10 spot is a film that I maintain is super underrated. A lot of people really dislike this one, and I do enjoy it, although obviously, if it's in the 10th spot, most of the other films are better. But it's one that I think that should be talked about a little more. That's part 9. It's Jason Goes to Hell. Sorry about the glare. And in this one, the story is completely different. It's so weird. But in this one, Jason is trapped and killed, and whatever entity, I don't know if it was in him or what, but that little parasitic worm uh, does some body jumping, so it kind of possesses other people, and they turn into Jason, just his personality, just his killing nature and everything. So you'll have this random dude, and it's actually Jason trying to kill people. So yeah, very very weird concept. They tried to take this story in a different direction, And kudos for the attempt. It doesn't fit the series at all, unfortunately. Once you're in the ninth entry in the franchise, fans are used to seeing something, and when you're trying to turn it on its head that late in the series, it's just not going to work. Very cool, interesting concept, but the execution was not enough, and it's much too late in the franchise to try a different spin on the story. But again, this one has a lot of cool kills. You'll remember the tent kill where he rips this woman in half basically, and then it's a little bit more cartoony as well. A little bit of comedy in there. I'm thinking of the woman who gets hit in the face in the diner, and her face like caves in. But yeah, so that's part 9. It's a Jason Goes to Hell in my 10th spot. All right, going on to number 9 here. Number 9 is part 5, The New Beginning. So in this one, Tommy Jarvis obviously survives the events of the previous film, part 4, and he's grown up but is sent to a group home because he's a little bit mentally unstable, so he needs constant care. So he moves into this group home where there is a murder committed by one of the other residents. All the while, people in the community, people from that residence, are killed off by a masked killer. Someone wearing the Jason Voorhees mask. Has he returned? Is it him? Did he survive the events of part 4? Watch the movie to find out. But in this one, yeah, this is one that I used to like a lot more, and it's one of those rare occasions where the more I watch it, the more viewings I have, the less I like it. So usually it's the opposite for me, but this is one of those rare cases where I dislike it the more I watch it. But still, again, some cool kills, just dumb fun. The issue with it, I think, is just the weird dialogue, some weird camera work. It's more on the technical side of it. But and the story, well, it is what it is. A lot of people don't like it. Some people, like me, are just, it is what it is. But a great third act. I love the third act in this film where there's a final confrontation in this like ranch or whatever it is. But yeah, that is part 5, The New Beginning, in my number 9 spot. Okay, doke. Number 8 is the 2009, is it? 2009 remake for Friday the 13th. And yeah, from now on, all of these films I really do enjoy and would watch it gladly anytime. So Friday the 13th is my number 8, the remake, and in this one, it's a retelling of the original story, in which there's a group of teenagers or young adults that go out camping, and they are killed off by this towering figure named Jason Voorhees, and so one of the relatives of those young people go to Camp Crystal Lake in search for his missing sister, all the while he runs into another group that are going to a cottage, and so it's their struggle against Jason Voorhees, their struggle to stay alive, and obviously the brothers search for his sister and search for answers, right? So it's a little twist on that story. So it's a little bit more than just your typical slasher, in which you've got that little mystery going on. But yeah, it's standard fare. It's all right. I like slashers, so I like it more than maybe other people would. But it's there's a lot of hate for this one. I do quite enjoy it. But it really feels just your typical slasher, which I'm a fan of. I like slashers, but it's nothing special. But it's still fun to watch. So that is number 8, Friday the 13th remake. All right, my number 7 pick is probably the pick that's going to get me crapped on the most. But number 7, I went with the original, Friday the 13th, the OG. So not that I don't dislike it. I still quite enjoy it. There's just a few that I like more. Actually, this one I feel like is a little too long. It feels a little too long. It's not a lot. It's not very eventful, but you gotta love that classic, right? Uh, so, group of camp counselors or future camp counselors go to this camp to restore it, following its closure due to a series of murders at the camp. So they're there to reopen it, and then themselves fall victim to this killer who's out for revenge. And so, obviously, everyone knows the story of this one, so it's not really a spoiler. And it's too old to be spoiled now anyway. So Pamela Voorhees, the mother of Jason, is the killer in this film, and she is just an iconic figure. So she's terrifying in this film. Just when she snaps at the end there, it's a fantastic third act, and her performance is just great. Up until the very end, it's a long chase at the end, long chase where she's going after the survivor girl, but worth it. The grand finale is worth it. So yeah, love this one. Friday the 13th. All right, for my number 6 pick it's one that I was kind of head to head with Friday the 13th, which one I like it more, as kind of going back and forth a little bit on this one. But for number 6, I went with part 7, The New Blood. Just a couple of factors. First, I'll tell you about the story. So this one is about a little girl who has some psychic abilities. She accidentally kills her father while at her cottage, her family cottage, following a domestic dispute between her parents. So she accidentally kills her father with her psychic abilities, and years and years later, when she is a teenager, her mom and her doctor or psychiatrist or whatever, they return to this cabin in order, it's kind of an attempt to some therapy, I guess, bringing her back to that spot that caused her so much trauma, see if she can face that trauma, whatever it is. And so yeah, she's brought back there. She has an episode where she's very stressed out, super upset, and using her psychic abilities once again, accidentally revives Jason, who was at the bottom of the lake following the events of part 6. He was at the bottom of the lake. So he's revived, comes back, and starts killing off these kids in a neighboring cottage who are having a birthday party weekend. So couple of factors why I like this one more. Just the look. Jason in this one looks fantastic. He is my favorite looking Jason in all of this series. I think I have a picture of him right on the back here. It's just a fantastic looking monster right there. And the kills are pretty good. And the story's a little wonky, I know. Another attempt at a twist in the series, adding this girl with magical abilities, right? But the result of that is this a fantastic third act in which she battles it out with Jason, and is using her telekinetic powers, hurling objects at Jason with her mind, the severed head, and that whole bit where he's set on fire. Just fantastic third act, action packed. I loved it. The ending is awful, but the rest of that third act makes up for it in my mind. So that's why part 7 is my number 6, The New Blood. We are finally in my number 5. Number 5, you have your lovers and your haters. I am definitely a lover of this film. That is Freddy versus Jason. Yes, that's right. The famous mashup film here where Freddy Krueger is introduced to the franchise. Well, I guess he was introduced in part 9, kinda. But his real first appearance in the film franchise. So, and his only one. So, yeah, in this film, Freddy Krueger is attempting to kill kids, but they no longer fear him, I guess. Not a lot of fear is generated. No one really cares anymore, so he doesn't have that level of power he used to have. So he's trying to figure out a way to strike fear in the hearts of the kids in this town, and he does this by resurrecting Jason from the dead. And Jason is out on a rampage. The kids are scared again. This makes Freddy more powerful, and once he's finally has enough power to start a new killing spree himself, he's in a competition with Jason. So they battle it out to be the top serial killer. I know, super weird story, but it's just so fun to see these two iconic figures head to head like that. You can't dislike it. If you say you dislike it, you're mistaken. No, it's your opinion, but I just get a chill every time I see those two together. So despite the story being weird. So that's Freddy versus Jason, my number 5. Okay, my number 4 is a entry that I don't believe a lot of people like either, but this is kind of my nostalgia pick, and that's Part 3, Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. So yeah, this is kind of my nostalgia pick. For whatever reason, this is the one that I grew up watching the most. Not because I liked it more than any of the other films or whatever, but it just, for whatever reason, played on TV more often than the other ones. So it was kind of my Friday the 13th film growing up. And so in this one, following the events of Part 2, Jason is still in the woods, sporting a new look, with a shaved head. And so these group of kids go out to a family cottage for the I think it's a weekend or just a little vacation going on. And so it's a family cottage on the lake, the same lake. And one of the people in the group has had a past encounter with Jason, and so when she returns, of course, he's still there and kills off her friends again, one by one. Kind of your typical slasher. There's nothing special about this one, other than it's just the one that I grew up watching the most. So I have a lot of fond feelings towards it. Of course, this is the one where Jason develops his famous look with the hockey mask. That's the very first one where he does that, or wears that. And I do like the kills in this one as well. Just loads of fun. That's Friday the 13th Part 3. And now going into my top 3 films of the Friday the 13th franchise. Number 3 is going to be Friday the 13th Part 2. So yes, Part 2. In this one, we have the infamous Sackhead Jason, which some people actually like more than the hockey mask Jason. I've heard multiple people say that they like that one better. It's just, I guess, more intimidating with the sack and just the one eye peeking through the bag. But one of my favorites, obviously. It's in my 3rd position. In this one, once again, a group of people are gathering together with the intention of starting a brand new summer camp on this land that is apparently cursed because of the Friday the 13th, the Jason Voorhees myth surrounding the area. So in this one, Jason Voorhees came back, killed off the final girl from the previous film, and now is returned. He has a shack in the woods that is displayed. You can see it in the film in the 3rd act there. Really, really cool. Just everything in that film is just iconic. You've got the shrine to his mother, the dead mother from the first film. You've got, of course, Sackhead Jason, and just a lot of the kills are just iconic. The frig, so many of them. You know, that wheelchair kill in particular is just shocking. Anyway, so again, nothing special with the story. It's just dumb fun. This whole series is kids at a camp or starting off a camp, and they get knocked off one by one. So it's your standard slasher, your standard campsite slasher, in which, you know, a subgenre of the slasher films that Jason helped make very, very popular. And that leaves us with 2 films. So these are the ones I see most often on top on people's like top of the list for this franchise as well. So which one is it going to be for me? Well, number 2 is going to be part 6, Jason Lives. Um, not your typical slasher. This one actually is a little bit more unique to the series. This is the introduction to Undead Jason, where he is brought back from the dead following his getting slain by Tommy Jarvis from the 4th film. And yeah, Tommy comes back, accidentally revives Jason, his all-time nemesis, and has to battle him once again, trying to convince the townspeople, the police, that Jason has come back to the dead. A ridiculous story, right? So he's stuck doing that all while Jason has returned to Camp Crystal Lake, which has been renamed to a different camp, and is killing off, or is trying to kill off, the people there. And it's a story of him trying to get there. He's got multiple dealings with other people on the way, so it's just hilarious as well. Just a lot of comedy in this one, but it works really well for it. Again, this is a franchise that shouldn't be taken seriously, and if you do, then you're not going to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. But this one is just loads of fun, iconic scenes with him on that RV, right? Great kills, the kill in the RV, and yeah, it's just one that I enjoy watching over and over again. It's one of my most watched films in the franchise as well. So that's part 6. Yeah, Jason Lives. And no surprise there, my number 1 is Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter. That's the 4th film in the series, the last one in which Jason is depicted as a normal human being, still alive and all, although being very mangled from the events of the 3rd film. Yeah, so in this one, again, no crazy story. You've got a group of friends who are going to a house to party, and Tommy Jarvis is a young kid in this one. They live in a neighboring cottage, so also having to deal with Jason. Obviously, he's targeting these 2 buildings that are occupied by, one is just a family, and the other one is a group of teenagers just having some fun. Just your standard, again, your standard little campsite slasher, but this is the ultimate one, the best one in my opinion, and one of my favorite horror films of all time. So that's Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter. Fantastic. So that's my ranking. Let me know which ones you like, which ones you think are underrated. Tell me if I'm completely wrong. Doesn't matter. That's my list. So obviously everyone has their own opinion. But yeah, that's my ranking of the Friday the 13th franchise. So hope you enjoyed it. And then I'm still watching films from 2010. That'll be my next ranking, top 13 films of the year 2010. And then I'll follow that up with a list of, I'll try to get films of 2020 done before the end of February. And whether or not that's going to be my next list after 2010, I'm not sure. There might be another ranking of a franchise in between 2010 and 2020. All depending on how much time I have to watch and binge films from those 2 years, right? So yeah, that's what I have going on. So yeah, have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.